That did hurt. Okay.
I can't get my finger under this.
That was a twist off top.
There you go.
Oh, there's almost another.
It wasn't easy, but it was worth it because, oh, that's lovely. Lovely.
That was a beautiful synchronized sip we just
favorite,
had.
yeah.
Favorite craft beer.
Martinelli's
apple juice.
It's beautiful.
That's the best
Delicious.
kind of beer. Welcome to Short Film Roundup.
This is The Talkies, brought to you by Carmen Line Studios, and yet another short film roundup. Do you want
to throw out a disclaimer real quick?
Our disclaimer is thus. We are filmmakers. We have made films both bad and good. And on our process to becoming decent filmmakers, we've made a lot of bad films. We get it. We've been there. We may be very harsh and critical of the films we're going to cover today. We will just be brutally honest because that's our policy. We think that's how we will learn the best. We think that's how you will learn the best. And so that being said, don't take it personally. It's just why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you have a film that you would like to submit, you can submit it in our subreddit, r/Carmeline Studios. The link will be down in the description.
Yes, sir. With that
Submit
said,
your film. It's fun.
Yeah, it's super
Like
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's
who's
great.
gone through this process has reached out to us and told us that they were really glad they had us do it.
Yeah.
And at least one person told us to kill ourselves, so that's pretty good.
Yeah,
There was that.
that's like you can't judge if you're doing things right. If you're not told to kill yourself, you're not doing it.
You're
right.
not doing it right.
Yeah.
You know. So here we go. Our first one is Narration, co-directed and edited by Thomas Schling. Sure.
We get names wrong. Just deal with it.
I get names wrong.
Um,
Go watch it.
link in the description.
Yeah, check it out and then come on back.
I'm an investment banker. I work on Wall Street.
So obviously he lied.
Wait, no,
Tom had obviously blown it. What a silly thing to do when he had a voice narrating everything he did.
No, he didn't. I mean, you didn't. It's fine.
Aaron was so nice to let him down easy like that. What an incredible fool he was.
I'm not.
Well, welcome back. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, right?
I'm looking.
That was the first
Thomas,
name.
yes.
Thank you, Thomas, for submitting your film to us.
Thank you, Thomas. Narration.
This had a clever concept behind it.
Yeah. It reminded me of Stranger Than Fiction.
Yes, Stranger Than Fiction came to mind too. I was surprised when the narration was also heard by the doctor, and it was revealed that it could be heard by other people as well.
Yeah, and like in proximity.
You know,
too.
so that's a fun concept. A problem here that I had with one of my really early films too, that included some audio that was recorded later to be used sort of like a narration. You know, it was dictating a letter being read inside someone's head. You know. Mm. And the problem is you're using a very different set of recording environments and equipment to record that narration than what you use to record the sound of your film. You might have used onboard microphones on your camera during your movie. Maybe you had a mic. I'm not entirely sure. But it was starkly different whenever that narration came in. It felt like it was coming out of another movie. You know?
Yeah.
Sound mixing.
it felt like it could have been. I got the impression that they were going for a storybook reader narration type sound.
The inflections and whatnot.
Yeah. Maybe they could have done a little better with the mixing of that and making it seem more like a narration. Let's see, what else?
You know, when I had that same problem,
Yeah.
My solution, which actually worked perfectly, was here I was recording this narration part using a USB mic at my computer at my desk, and I had recorded the rest of the movie using an onboard camera on the onboard mic on my camera, and they didn't sound good together. The solution that I found later was just record my narration by speaking into the onboard camera on the onboard mic on my camera.
Yeah.
And using that, so now that's all recorded with the same mic.
Yeah.
I didn't mind so much the sound profile. It didn't bother me too much. What did bother me was the idea that there is a sound that's supposed to be, what is the word, Taylor?
Diegetic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
the sound's supposed to be diegetic, and it's supposed to exist within the world.
Yeah, meaning everyone's supposed to hear it.
Yeah. I didn't get that everyone was hearing it until they would talk to the other person and say that. It was weird that we didn't hear any of the characters directly talk back to the voice until the girl.
Yeah.
At the table.
It was also weird that the doctor later suggested that the sound would go away if they removed a tumor from his brain.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what? Well, then why is everyone else hearing it if it's from a tumor in his head?
It's a tumor that talks.
It's a really loud tumor.
Just talking right here.
But I think obviously the biggest problem with this movie, and we have a theory for why it ended up this way, is that it appeared to have no ending.
Yeah,
It did appear to
basically
have that, yeah.
literally just ended out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It felt like they were building up, because they were building up to this surgery. They're like, all right, you're gonna go have your surgery, and then it goes 1 week later, and then he gets into an elevator,
He goes up to the
roof.
roof.
And he stands there, and then roll credits. It was
Yeah.
very abrupt,
Very ambiguous. It was like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening here.
Right. Well, especially after everything else was starkly different. There was no scoring for the rest of the film. You know, there was no.
And everything had on-the-nose exposition.
Right,
Yeah, there was
right,
no
that's the
hint
other
of
Literally taking you by
ambiguity.
the hand. There was no inference.
Yeah.
Right. So the tone completely shifted here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of weird.
Yeah.
It did.
What was your theory on that?
Well, Dee suggested it, and I agreed. It felt like this was maybe an assignment,
Oh, yeah.
or simply a film that they only had one day to shoot, and they ran out of time.
Gotcha.
It looked like they ran out of time and resources, and had to just end
Right.
the movie.
Right.
It felt very much like an assignment film. This looked like, again, another film that was shot on a school campus, using students.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
It definitely looked like it was available talent.
Yeah, but that being said,
Pretty good.
they did all right.
They did all right. There's something about picking. So, again, I'm sure this was just using their available talent, but had you had access to more talent, you would want a casting director, someone who knows what you're trying to say in the film and therefore translates to the people who will act. That way, you don't get people who are not right for the film. And I feel like the doctor, I know it's available talent, but the doctor was not right for the film.
Yeah.
Every time he spoke, to me, it felt like he was hiding something the entire time. Like he was about to go into another scene and be like, hey, like he's got the voice or something like that. Like I felt like he was always hiding something because of the way he spoke or the rhythm that he spoke in. It was very odd to me.
Yeah, he struck me as someone who has comedy chops,
Yeah.
but not necessarily anything else.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always just some cognitive dissonance that comes from saying this guy who is a 19-year-old student from my school is a doctor and host of a talk show.
Right.
So and that can be unavoidable sometimes, and we get that. We've been there.
Yeah.
But
It's worth acknowledging
whenever
anyway.
you can, focus on casting.
Yeah.
Get always
Whenever
just-
you can, yeah.
Just get the right people
Yeah.
in those roles.
Go ahead.
I thought it was really funny when he introduces his talk show, and it's just in this like room with a chalkboard, and he's like,
budget.
yeah, he goes low budget Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I was
see,
like,
that was clever.
yeah, and like
There's a lot of
that
clever
worked
moves like that
for me. Yeah.
When the guy was supposed to be after this car accident or whatever, we had a lot of close-ups on him because you could tell the background was not a doctor's office.
Yeah.
But they remained really close that the background is ambiguous, and I thought that was clever.
Yeah. The other thing that sort of like really screamed that this was a film made with very little preparation and very little time to execute was that they just made do with what people were wearing and with what was around people at the time.
Right.
So, which is cool for what you were trying to do, but in any film, the things that are left in a shot convey intention, whether you mean it or not. And so, two examples of that. There was one scene. I think it was right before he got on the elevator and went up to the roof. There was a notice taped on the wall behind him, and it was framed perfectly in the shot over his shoulder. It was in focus enough that you could see what the words were, and it led me to believe this is part of the story. I need to know what's on that sign. I'm starting to read it, and I realized this is just some notice that was put on the wall of their school.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You know, that's something you'd want to take down or leave out of your frame out.
Frame out, right.
And the other being him having he had a Fitbit on when they had that close-up at the very beginning, a super close-up, and he's talking about being in an accident. You just see his hands, and he has a Fitbit on. And that can be a perfectly normal part of any costume, but when you're doing a close-up on hands, choosing a Fitbit means something. Right? So I need to, like, you're telling me that he's into fitness or something.
Again, like shots, you have to picture shots as if you're taking someone and being like, hey, Kenny, look at this. Okay, now look at this. Right. And everything that you're showing is part of what you're intending. Yeah. So if I leave something up that I don't want to show, and I'm saying, look at this, and then you're like, what was that? And I'm like, oh shoot, you don't leave that in your movie. It's everything's intentional. Yeah. That required a hop. That's why
excuse me, sorry. I really did love that shot of the elevator though, where he's standing looking out the elevator.
That was a cool shot.
That was a really cool shot.
And in fact, the ending two shots, those two shots together were rather dramatic.
Yeah. It got kind of heavy.
That's why I thought he was going to jump off at that point, because it was so dramatic.
It did kind of feel like that. All three films we saw today had moments where I was sure suicide was coming.
Yeah.
Well, one of them, suicide did come, actually.
The endings in these films were oddly similar. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think overall I did enjoy this movie when it comes down to it. I like the premise. The acting was not terrible. It wasn't like the best acting I've ever seen, but I mean, there were still some really good moments from these performers.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. When the cute girl comes down and sits to chat with him, she was really good.
She was good.
Very genuine and charming.
Yeah.
And I felt like everyone at least sufficiently tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this comes down to directing, what I'm about to say, but I feel like the narrator wasn't. He didn't deliver the lines the way people reacted to them.
Yes. I think a big problem there was that they were recorded and shot completely separately and then spliced together.
Yeah, because the lines themselves, you could tell worked on paper.
Yeah.
Like, because answer and answer.
What it felt like to me, normally what you'd want to do is watch the footage back when you're recording the narration after the fact.
Right.
You'd be watching the footage back. You'd be able to maybe have a monitor in your ear so you could hear their lines, and then you could give the narration so that there's a natural syncopation between the two. It sounded like to me this narration was shot completely isolated and then later tried to splice in, and it didn't always fit.
It didn't always fit, right?
Yeah. It would have been cooler to see like a little bit more play with that. Have like a little more interaction with the other actors and the voice.
Yeah, but the day ended.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what the voice would have done in the ending?
Talked him out of suicide, or talked him into it,
or said, "Why are you on the roof?" That's where he gets his surgery.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have that much more to say about this one.
No, I guess that's it. Thank you for sharing your film, Thomas.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Thomas.
Keep it up.
Absolutely.
You're funny.
Yes.
Yes.
I can deduce that much. I think you're funny.
Yeah.
Second film is called The Guitar Short Film.
The Guitar.
Yeah.
I think it's just called The Guitar.
Yeah, I think so. I was a little confused.
Oh, did you?
I put because the title on YouTube is The Guitar Short Film,
Gotcha.
but there's no differentiator.
Okay, there's no dash.
The Guitar.
Yeah.
The Guitar. Link in the description. Who's it by?
Written, shot, and directed. That's my kind of guy right there.
Yeah.
By Sam Sherfy.
Sam.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Go watch the movie. I know. Go watch the movie. Come right back. It's very short.
Yeah, check it out.
I don't think we actually need to wait for them.
We do. We have to wait. We gotta wait for 3 minutes.
Thing's not gonna make you any money. You keep playing that thing, you're gonna wake up one day broke, living on the streets.
often when frustrated with my dad's ignorance.
And I think now they're back.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Okay. Taylor, what did you think of the guitar?
I loved it.
Yeah.
No, like through and through, honestly. Like, I thought it was really good. I think the only thing that didn't fully work with me, fully.
I see what you did there.
Full.
What didn't fully work?
The narration was a little bit too much, I think. I get that this is a very short film. It's like 3 minutes, and there's a lot of character conveyed through the narration. And for what it was pretty good. You know, it got me to understand who this character was, and I understand how it was vital to it. But I couldn't help but feel like I was being told the character. Aside from that, I loved the performances. I loved the look of the film, and I loved the distance feel of the film. I loved how we were basically never in the house. We see through the windows.
That was really cool.
You really get a sense of isolation, and that these people are distant.
What the heck is that?
I'm sorry.
It's like a vacuum cleaner.
That's really weird. Oh, it means a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
Sorry, you were saying.
You can tell that they're really distant. The son is distant from the father.
Yeah.
You can get that from the cinematography. And I love that the story kind of goes to, you build up this character of an artist. He's like, I'm just never really taken to school. I've been had a knack for creativity and music. And his dad was always against that. And he runs off and he gets in his car and he's going and he's like, I'm just going to be my own person. I'm just going to follow my passion. And then he's thinking to himself, he's like, I'm a creative genius. Who could do this to me? I'm going to be great. And then you kind of get this sense that he's like arrogant, like, oh, geez, this guy's really conceited. And then he looks and sees a man alone on the grass with a guitar, and he sees himself in that man. And he has a moment of clarity or something like that. And I just
a moment of self-reflection.
Yeah. I just really appreciated how that was conveyed and executed. It felt very atmospheric.
Yeah,
loved it.
It was atmospheric, very much. Shall I go?
You go.
I love the cinematography, like you were saying. The everything had a point. This is the kind of cinematography that I keep talking about when I'm.
Man, we got sound issues.
Wow, man. Yeah,
this is a problem.
I don't think we can talk about sound.
Yeah, I know. We give people a bunch of crap for sound, but I mean, like, we literally, our office is right next to a car workshop and
body shop
and a restaurant deli with water running, and we had our air on.
Which is why if we truly lived up to our own values, we would ADR.
Dude.
So it's like this.
But we'd have to go to a different studio to record the ADR.
So hey Taylor, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, man. Just hanging out here with my fam.
Pretty good too over here, but I could really go for a burrito. That's gonna be funny. All right.
All right.
And that little jaunt into the warehouse basement is brought to you by Smoky Heads.
The most obscure reference of all time.
Brought to you by the counter.
All right.
Okay. So I've talked about cinematography before, about how good cinematography means not only good-looking shots, but intentional shots. Mm-hmm. And everything in here I felt like you said, had a very distant feel and was that way on purpose, and I loved that. It was so good. The aesthetic was really nice too. I like the colors and everything. What I didn't fully get from the film was this kind of completion. We kind of set up the narrative almost in a slower way, where we have like these we have the parents talking, and then the kid comes in, we learn about him, and then he goes out for a drive, and then it stops as if as if we've now learned our lesson. No longer, we don't need to see anything more. And I felt like I still wanted to see more stuff happen. And I get that the punchline has been delivered, but it felt like there needed to be more than just a punchline. Just kind of like, I wanted the issue to be resolved, or I wanted him to somehow self-reflect more, or something like that.
It felt like the punchline didn't have any punch.
Right.
It's almost like I feel like one word would have sealed the deal.
I think it would have. Yeah.
I mean, he looks over at that guy, and if he just goes, damn, something like that.
Yeah.
We didn't quite get the hint. We saw what he saw, but I didn't see really his reaction.
Yeah,
his
that's
change.
the point. Yeah.
So I totally get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
To talk about sound again, the sound.
Embarrassing.
Seriously,
embarrassing.
I can't even say it. Sounds like a ghost.
I wonder if it's even being picked up.
Yeah, I probably can't even hear
Can't even hear it.
If you can't hear it, there's a strange buzzing going on that we've never heard before.
It sounds like moaning.
Yeah. It's like,
There's a banshee haunting this Carmen Line Studios. All right, sound, as you were saying.
Every short film that we talk about needs to have sound worked on. This one, I think, included. The sound was good. There was nothing
pretty good.
Yeah, there was nothing terrible about it. But the inside of the house really took me out when the levels were messed up. I got what you were trying to do. The whole, you can hear them in the background, so the EQ is low, so they talk like this. But when they're distant, the level needs to be lower too. And I don't know if that's a compressor problem or
he was trying to do something very tricky.
Yeah.
With the perception of proximity, not just proximity, but also having barriers in between hearer and the speaker.
And I thought it was a neat design choice.
It was very neat design choice.
Yeah.
And he, all the little tricks he went for, I understood. He didn't pull them all off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of them were just too loud. A couple of them were just blowing out. When we first came into the house, and we start to hear the parent's voice from like the other room.
Yeah.
They were so muffled, just blown out.
Muffled.
So
you're using muffled in a different way there, because he did intentionally muffle them.
Okay. Well, what I mean that muffled in the sense that they were pinned up at the top of the mic's capability of recording them.
Right.
And yet still trying to make them sound distant.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There was also one moment of the door being shut where the sound of the door did not sync up with the image of the door closing. It was like the door shut. It was like, or if it was open like this, it goes. That's all.
All right. Before we start getting that nitpicky, there was something that bothered me more about this film. I mean, I liked it, and I think it in many ways it was expertly pulled off.
Yeah, absolutely. I really did like this movie.
The first thumbnail when the Vimeo player loaded and I saw the thumbnail of the two windows.
Yeah,
I turned to these guys and I said, "This one's gonna be good."
Yeah.
I can already tell.
Yeah.
Because that's just smart already.
Yeah.
And that was right. But what bothered me is something that I'm surprised doesn't bother you a little more, and that's that his narration was just right out of every teenage angst cliche. And everyone feels that at one point. It is something that people can genuinely identify with, and so I get it. But it just felt so tired to me to hear. Maybe it's because I have a preteen at home, but it just seemed very cliche and stale.
Yeah.
That whole thing, but my dad doesn't get me, man. Okay.
It felt. It also didn't feel. I don't know. Have you guys seen Fault in Our Stars?
Yeah, it's a good film.
Have you seen it?
No.
The language. Who wrote that? Do you know who wrote that?
It was that YouTuber, right? He was like
not the book, the movie, the screenplay.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Oh. Well, what they did in there was they had what Aaron Sorkin does a lot, which is really, really good writing, but too clever. And you can tell in Fault in Our Stars, it was like really, really clever for kids that age. And you're just like, okay, I'm not certain that these kids are actually speaking to each other that way. And it's still good. It's just, it's not very believable. And it depends on the world that you're building up also. Fault in Our
It was
Stars
written by Scott Newstander and Michael Weber.
Yeah, I know Michael Weber.
Book by John Green.
But this film, I felt like had that a little bit with the narration. It felt like he was reading a poem as opposed to just thinking to himself.
Yeah, it definitely had a poetic feel, which
Yeah.
didn't bother me. I mean, you can make
Right.
film poems are cool.
You totally can. You totally can. And this one, I didn't feel like this was stylized enough to where poem narration made sense. But
Sure, I get that.
yeah, but
I
it
get
can be pulled off.
I mean, if you're going poem, go poem.
Like
Go full poem.
Go full poem. Yeah, exactly.
No half-ass.
What should you do?
You should go full ass.
Full ass.
Never half-ass, just full ass.
You know what happens when you half-ass?
What's that?
Fall off your chair.
You want to full ass your chair?
That's right.
Yeah.
Safer.
Safer, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now we're all full assing.
Just trying to prevent injuries.
See, I think I was actually I would think I was caught up in the cinematography and the atmosphere that it created, the look of the film.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
really
even
intrigued
his
by.
driving the car bit was well shot.
It was.
And
There's
that's hard to pull off, actually.
Yeah.
something that this short film actually does that I don't think any of the other ones have done that we've seen is choose a color palette
Yeah,
and sticking with it.
yeah.
That's really, really nice. You know,
There's some strong yellow overtones.
yeah. Well, they did definitely the whole teal and orange look, but the teal and orange I think really, really did work well. It looked almost like Drive. It reminded me of Drive.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice job.
Nice job indeed.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah.
really liked it.
Hopefully you are able to comfortably and with little drama make it through your teenage angst. and
I want to
and
see
are doing better, reconcile with your dad. Because whenever I see a movie, I assume it's about you. This is obviously autobiographical.
Of course, yeah. I want to see a longer movie from you. You should make a longer movie.
Yes. Get back to us, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thomas.
yeah. It's your homework.
What's your
Yeah.
homework?
We now.
Or I'm
giving
sorry, not
assignments.
Thomas. Sam.
Sam.
Um,
Sam, your assignments you choose to accept. Submit us a 8-minute film.
Bam. Set.
You have 30 days.
Yeah. If you don't, we're gonna charge you. We're gonna charge you a fee.
We will, yeah.
Late fees.
Yeah.
Late fee.
Every day you're late. All right, go for it. Alrighty. What's next? D.
Third film for today is called Vincent, and it's written, directed, and edited by Jin Ryu, or Ryu.
That's usually Ryu.
Hadouken.
Hadouken.
I'm sure he's never heard that before in his life. Go watch this film. Come right back.
Link is down below. Watch it now. Huh?
You really do need to watch it. The entire thing.
It's awesome.
Vincent Tempest, winner of last year's world title, takes on former champion Mikhail Wexler. Wexler was champion for 3 consecutive years before a serious accident left him with brain trauma, keeping him out of chess entirely for over a year. During this time, Tempest became the new world champion. However,
We're back.
Here we are. Okay. This is the one we've been anxious to talk about because I think something very unique is about to happen.
You've done something really interesting here, Mr. Ryu.
Oh,
You know what you've done?
what do you do?
You've created a discussion between 3 filmmakers, and that's awesome.
Here's what's so fascinating about it is that typically the 3 of us are united, and on these short films especially,
75% of the time we're united.
and on the short films we've been very united.
Yeah.
We've never really argued
Yeah.
about a short film.
Yeah.
And with our other part of the talkies where we cover features, we occasionally do fight, but it's almost always this arrangement. D feels passionate about one side of an argument, Taylor feels passionate about the other side of an argument, and I am in the middle somewhere, kind of a lukewarm, straddling the fence kind of stance.
Yeah.
Kind of a two half-ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a full ass, but there's a cheek on each side of the conversation. Today, it's shaken up because D and I disagree, and Taylor's sort of in the middle.
Yeah.
So where to
Feels
begin?
weird. Feels really weird.
Should I begin?
So, yes.
Okay, here I go. I love this movie. I thought it was really, really cool.
Did you say we agree, you and I?
No, I said we disagree.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't agree.
Me and Pete feel exactly the same, that this movie was awesome. No, I really liked it. I liked the absurdity of the two main characters. They were both kind of like portrayed like they are very much real people, and yet at the same time were almost absurd to like a comic book level. Watching this guy who's a chess player doing insane clapping push-ups like he's getting ready for his chess match, you know? And then this other dude in his red light think tank where he's like has charts all over his wall and he's frantically trying to crack, you know, his next chess game, and then he's like getting his stress out by beating a hooker. Like the absurdity of that was cool. I also liked some of the little visuals that were snuck in as little editing tools and tricks. When he takes his heart medicine, we cut to almost looked like a stop motion animation of blood cells coursing through blood vessels, and another time a beating heart just in still black. You know, I thought that was really cool as well. The story, which I think is going to be the biggest point of contention, I will admit, is very loose. There's not a very solid character arc that happens here, but I got enough of each character to, one, root for the guy who won, and two, feel sorry for the guy who ultimately kills himself. It was clever. It could have been stronger if it had a unified style, because I felt like he had lots of good ideas for stylizing the film, but didn't really pick one. Yet a lot of those stylization ideas on their own were very cool. So that's where I am. It was a breath of fresh air to me compared to many of the short films we've seen, which have felt just like they're just not as creative as they could be. And I think this guy's a really creative filmmaker.
I think creative is definitely the word to describe this film. It's creative.
Yeah.
Immediately after watching the film, I did not understand why it existed. That's really not. I'm not trying to insult anyone here, and it's as you probably don't know if you haven't seen our other talkies, but I'm very much a person who likes story told in story ways, and if you're going expressionist, to go full expressionist, right? And we talk about this all the time. And what I didn't get from this film was the tone telling me that it was expressionist. I felt like everything in this film was genuine and made it super, super cheesy for me. So when I was watching everything play out, I saw exactly, you know, what happened, all these things playing out, and I'm like, I can't get this character. I'm not engaged at all. I don't get this character. I don't get why he's doing this or why he's doing that. And had it been maybe more random, had it been not presented as a story structure, then I probably would have been on board with it. As we talked about Mother one time, Mother has a structure and then just completely goes insane. The insane part is fine with me because it's insane and it lets you know that it's insane. This one, I don't feel like it ever let me know, hey, this is insane. And so I felt like all this was genuine. And maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe you intended this to be expressionist. if it was, then that's really interesting and it's really creative, and I'd like to watch it again. But if it was a story structure that you were trying to tell about someone who was a dynamite chess player, I thought it was very, very odd.
See, I knew it was absurdist the moment that I saw him doing the push-ups behind his back and clapping in preparation for playing chess. At that moment, I was like, this is hilarious. This is obviously trying to do something really over the top with making it a very physical experience with a game that is highly intellectual and has nothing to do with physicality whatsoever, and then connecting that with, like, you know, him being like ripped and doing exercise stuff, and then the dude, his competitor, is like listening to like meditation tapes and stuff about the whole thing. That was just very funny.
I liked
to me.
that. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
So that, to me, that's where I kind of bought into it. And this also does something that I've always wanted to do and plan on doing with a short film at some point, and that's having a comedy film that is a very absurd concept, but executed as executed like a drama, basically.
See, that's my problem with it.
Yeah.
To me it was a drama, not a comedy whatsoever.
See, that's what I like about it. I like that it's.
I think it was using dramatic language, but I feel like it will wave plenty of flags to tell you it was a comedy.
And so if the guy didn't intend this to be a comedy, which you guys are saying are then extremely removed.
Oh yeah. If he comes back and says, "No, this was like the true story of a chess."
It doesn't have to be a true story.
No, it's just like it's a
like, so him doing the
it's not a drama.
Him doing the claps and then coming down, I thought that was hilarious. And then the whole, zoom in as the guy's listening to his own voice, I thought that was great. And then his wig, which is absolutely hilarious, just doesn't match at all.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another movie that's done this, that's taken a comedy and turned it into a dramatic structure to where you're not supposed to take any of it seriously. I mean, so what about the part where he's like, because this reminds me of the part in Deadpool that you hated so much, and that was where in Deadpool 2, where we see the girlfriend get shot and he's like screaming and you're just like, oh no, something bad happened. Very much the film is showing you something bad is happening right now, you better be sad. And to me, I'm going,
What scene are you referring to?
I just told you.
When his girlfriend dies.
No, in Vincent, not.
Oh, yeah. So in Vincent, the part where he's drinking himself to death.
Yeah.
Even though he has a daughter.
Yeah.
And
that was my least favorite part of the whole movie. Like, I did not like that part at all.
Now, was that supposed to be comical?
So here's the thing. This is where I'm in the middle, I think, because I don't think it was absurd enough in some places where it was like halfway taking itself kind of seriously. In some parts, it was like a little tone inconsistent, where there were some parts that I felt were super absurdist, over the top, and then some parts that were so dramatic that it just kind of didn't work. And for me, that was he's just drinking himself to death on the bridge, and it's just like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think that at all was meant to be comedic. I don't think they were going for laughs per se.
Okay.
I think that they had set up a world that a world and characters that were absurd, but that he also wanted to demonstrate that these were damaged people. I think that was a really important idea to him. Both of them had scars, one on a heart and one on the brain. I'm not quite thinking deep enough to figure out where...
I forgot he had a scar there.
Where the symbolism of that is, but it's certainly intentional. They both have a long sequence showing their drama, their baggage, but it's taking place within this concept that is just in an alternate reality.
Okay, so maybe what it is then is that this person did what you're talking about, is doing this absurdist film and just didn't get it all the way for me. And maybe that's why I'm not fully on it, is because I never gripped this whole, I get it, it's absurdist, awesome. Yeah,
He
to me,
said,
that's what it was.
what if there was a world where people took this chess championship to an insanely serious level,
Yeah.
and it was like actually this story, you made the comparison to boxing.
Yeah.
Now in boxing, it's
No,
not
that was-
you did, okay. It's not uncommon to have two people about to go up against each other who both have like crazy traumatic life stories,
Sure.
right? It's not crazy to find out that one guy going for the championship like just got out of prison for beating his wife, and that the other one, who whatever it is, that kind of drama isn't foreign to boxing.
Yeah.
But it's really weird in this scenario where it's the two world's chess champions.
Absolutely, it's weird. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe.
And I like that.
Yeah.
So Edgar Wright's movies, how he uses sound effects in almost every kind of snap zoom or dolly shot or instant transition. It's to give the point that what you're seeing right here is not taken seriously. It's to the point, get it. And I felt like none of that was apparent here. Maybe sound is the thing that I had needed the most to help me. The sound in here was clean, and it was just voices. There was barely any score.
I think the difference is that Edgar Wright goes for laughs.
Yeah,
I don't think this was going for laughs.
Well, absurdist or whatever.
Right. And something can be entertaining because it's absurd without necessarily being ha-ha funny.
Well, and this is great. This is great. This is what you're supposed to do with film, is insight discussions. This is amazing. Mad Max Fury Road. I can't believe I'm saying this on Short Film Roundup. This is one of my favorite movies ever. Mad Max Fury Road has a completely, utterly absurd world.
Yeah.
That cannot be taken seriously, but you are always within every character's mind, and you understand their motivations for everything that's happening, and you're there. And even though it's absurd, you get it. This one was absurd and disconnected for me. I was not.
And
there
I don't
anywhere.
disagree that the story is a bit disjointed.
And character motives are a little thin.
Yeah.
The character motives are there, but they're silly. I don't like. I'm getting stuck on why a lot of this was done, and I can't see it because it wasn't.
Do you have a I don't mean this in any I'm genuinely asking why do you think any movie should be made in the first place? Why should anything be made?
You're talking. I think you're taking my why out of context.
Okay.
Because that was a question that my film teacher had told me one time. One of the things, and it just blew my mind when he was like, "Why do you need to tell this story?" And I was like, something deep philosophical, I don't know, fucking, I just want to tell a story. But he didn't mean that. What he meant was that, why do you want to tell these events that are happening? Why are these events happening? There's a point to everything. Something's happening, right? Why are you telling me the story? If you had a trip to the grocery store and you met some meth head that went crazy and tried to stab you or something, the reason why you would tell me that story is because your life was in danger at one point and you wanted to share that with me. So there's a point to stories being told. The guitar one was empathy with a teenager, and you're trying to figure out, or you're getting why he's so angsty, and the one with the narrator, you're getting the idea that something is bothering someone that's out of their control. This one had nothing.
I thought it did have something though.
Tell me, what was it?
The something being why. I think it was. I mean, I can't say why he made it because I don't know.
No. Again, it's not philosophical.
I can say why I liked it and why I gained value from watching it. And I didn't feel like I wasted my time.
That would be the same thing with Mother then, right? Where you watched it and you gained value because you were entertained.
There was actually a lot here that reminded me of Aronofsky films. Yeah. Again, I think a typical Aronofsky film has more defined characters and a defined story arc. Characters more than anything.
Yeah.
I think Aronofsky leans on the fact that if he gives enough to his characters, enough character development, that he doesn't have to worry so much about his traditional arc, following a traditional arc.
Yeah.
And to an extent, that's true. I think that your emotional investment into a person is almost enough to carry you through virtually anything you see them do on the screen.
Yeah.
If you are
emotionally
connected to them.
invested.
And that's what happened with Mother.
Right.
We got genuinely invested, for better or worse,
in Jennifer Lawrence's character.
And Javier Bardem.
And both, yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't quite get enough of that to go there in this film.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, I was disconnected from both.
Yeah.
So I felt like the whole time I was just watching them do stuff, and I wasn't rooting for anything, and I was genuinely just trying to figure out. I wasn't actively trying to decipher the movie. I was just not entertained because I wasn't engaged at all.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot to engage you.
Again, because I'm a cold robot.
Yeah.
I don't know love.
Well, everyone has a different taste,
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. That's definitely what it comes down to. And
yeah, I think so.
It is just taste in this.
Yeah, I recognize that it's again, narratively, it's just not very strong. But he did so many things in such a cool way that I enjoyed it, and I would like to see the concept made bigger and giving these wacky characters more of a story to go off of.
Yeah, maybe being even more absurd.
I think it's kind of fun to mix this idea of absurdity with tragedy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting mix, and I think when you do these like larger than life wacky characters, you kind of feel like, oh, we must be going for laughs, but it doesn't have to be.
They didn't seem wacky to me.
Those were both wacky.
They didn't seem wacky. They seemed both.
The dude with the wig was exceptionally wacky.
No,
he was dark and mean.
Again,
but he was also just bizarre.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was bizarre to me. It didn't pull me. It just wasn't my taste, I suppose.
I want to make a movie just like this.
There were a few things where it's just like, I want to do that. Yeah. I really like the red room.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
The red room a lot.
I really like the opening shot on the guy with the wig, with the headphones.
Yeah,
I loved that.
That was
shot.
a beautiful shot.
Yeah. By the way, the actress in here who did the hooker.
Yeah, she was good.
Really good.
Yeah.
I honestly felt like she was the best presence
performance
on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, the chess coach, I guess he was. He was good too.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he was a bad actor.
He was not.
He was.
He was a good actor.
No.
I felt he did a great job.
Man.
I felt like I felt like he propped up the main character because the main character was so stony.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But why, D? Why?
What do you mean why?
Well, you guys are just disagreeing, but you're not explaining why.
We're not explaining why both of us are.
No, well, you're not explaining why you don't like the
from my opinion, he actually brought some warmth to, like I felt like the main character would have become really uninteresting without having a companion, because he was just kind of icy.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about that guy. I'm talking about the
his like
the news host.
In like the opening?
No,
yeah,
his coach.
No, the coach is fine.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you meant the news host.
No, I think the news host was actually exactly how they wanted him to be, which was just kind of awkward.
Dull.
He felt awkward and dull because he was a bad actor. He didn't feel awkward and dull because he was directed to do so.
I really want to hear more about this, the symbology of the two wounds. I think that obviously there was some kind of balance going on between a brain injury and a heart injury, and a failing brain and a failing heart, and they're coming together to play this chess game against one another.
Also,
there's certainly more there.
The end arena like look, it gave a really good impression that it was a huge auditorium. Like I actually felt they were in front of like a big audience under like heavy lights. You know, I'm being watched in a stadium.
I really like those shots.
How was that guy not checked for a gun?
Yeah, right.
Just bring a gun into
Chess
these
match.
things now.
Yeah,
Chess matches are usually very dangerous.
I don't really get why he killed himself.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They didn't give
Yeah.
him enough. You know, we knew that he was damaged, and we knew he's kind of crazy. They gave a clue earlier where they said that he had survived a car accident and had brain damage.
Yeah.
And then we saw the way he treated the hooker, and we knew that he was just mean because he took the ring.
Yeah.
Right?
That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
He just takes his ring.
Dick move.
I loved that how they're like, you've been out of the game for like 6 months because your brain injury, which is like exactly what a boxing movie would say after like the antagonist boxer sustained like some injury and is like hasn't been able to work. But it's like as if chess was boxing. And in that sense, chess is a super intellectual game, so his brain is injured, so he can't play the game.
You know what I think happened here? What I'm thinking is that they came up with that exact concept. It was like, I have an idea for a movie. We're going to do a short film where this like larger than life world that we have around boxing is switched into the world of competitive chess.
Yeah.
And then they took that concept and put it in the hands of a very artistic filmmaker without very much other thought.
Yeah.
So that concept,
well, it was
plus
all
a very
him.
wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Filmmaker.
Wasn't it written, directed, and edited by the same dude?
Let's see.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah. Written, directed, and edited. Also, I didn't like the editing. Thought the editing was poor.
There was one shot that really bugged me, and that was, I mean, it was just a mistake that they should have said, we didn't actually get it. We need to shoot that scene again. But they decided it was close enough. Let's keep the scene. And that's when Wig Dude was having his confrontation with the hooker. And the first time they pull back to this 2-shot where they're on either side of the frame, and the camera guy just felt like he ran out of room scooting back.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't get wide enough to keep them both in frame. And so she was still on the edge here, and he sort of floated out and had to come back in.
Yeah.
And it was clearly an accident that they just didn't fix.
See, that to me felt like the entire movie was like that.
Well, your cinematography eyes would probably be right. Yeah.
A lot of missteps in execution. I feel like you guys are taking as artistic ability, and I think that's odd.
I need more explanation from you, D.
I can go into a big explanation, but that's. I feel like we're just going to go in circles.
Well, I don't know. I can't think of an example of where I saw something that I thought was really a cool, clever idea. That was actually an accident.
Well, okay, so like the edited sequence. Again, I have to point out that this is awesome that we're having this discussion about a short film. That's great. The sequence where the dad, I guess, or the chess coach, chess coach, I can't remember what happened. Someone had fallen down, and then the guy was saying, "Call 911."
Yes.
Yeah. So that whole part, I felt like was supposed to be cut as if it was a really, really what do you call it, dramatic thing that's happening, because there's fast cuts and the camera's going up and down and doing that whole thing. And I felt like they just missed the mark on every single cut, that the shots weren't long enough to understand the space development. Like the shot of the door being opened, like the door was closed, and they cut to a shot of the door just as it opened, as if the guy was standing right in front of the door and just opened it, which I'm sure he was. But you don't shoot it that way. You shoot it so it's a bit longer, something happened, and then he comes in. And then they went down to a close-up of the guy, and then back up, and again, miss the rhythm so that it doesn't feel like it's...
I thought that sequence was confusing visually.
Well, so
I agree with you there. That wouldn't be an example of something that I thought was artistically impressive.
Okay.
Examples of that... would have been found in like one of the very early sequences where they were just sort of setting up the synopsis of these two people, cutting between a lot of different imagery. And one was like where they did this slow pan across a chessboard with an arrangement of like an iPhone and a photo of his daughter and a bunch of other things, and it just looked rad like that.
Yeah, that was a really cool shot.
Very cool shot.
Yeah, and that shot is supposed to show lifestyle right there.
Yeah,
and he goes cut, jump cut, jump cut, and that was great.
Yeah.
Because that shows his lifestyle. That shows he's on point. Everything. We again fast cut to him doing the clap push-ups. So this was crazy. Goes into a middle, or what do you call it? A centered shot. Dolly in, I think, which was amazing, in front of a mirror, where he's taking, I don't remember what he's doing, but then he's shaving, and then he bleeds, and then there's that wonderful center shot right here that it goes down to his heart. Like that looked really cool. Even the blood looked amazing.
It was good blood.
Yeah. And then when he goes to see his mom, and we have this really, really wooden.
That wasn't a well acted scene.
So all the things that I'm not liking, you're not liking either.
Yeah. No, we had this talk before that, and generally with short films, almost all of them, I come out with a collection of things I liked and didn't like about it.
So the liked ones over.
I liked more about this film than I didn't.
Yeah.
To where I can, with confidence, say I liked this movie.
Right. So I guess it was. I don't know if it was you. I'm pretty sure it was you last one of the talkies episodes that we did, where I said something about how it was like pizza that had something rotten on it or something, and you ate it and you're like, oh, that was gross, but the rest of it was good, so it's all good. And you're like, no, you shouldn't have rotten stuff on your pizza. And that's what I felt like this was. Is that there was too many holes here that I'm just like, no, it's not working.
Yeah.
That I thought there were more holes than bad.
Yeah.
Or more holes than good.
Right.
And the good stuff didn't over.
There was enough for it it held together for me. It did.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. There was enough that I liked rather than didn't like. There are definitely some stuff I didn't like, but I did like a great majority of it. I thought it was good.
His chest scar looked like wads of chewing gum.
Yeah, it did.
His what?
That was a
chest
nasty chest
It looked
scar.
like Play-Doh.
It looked real.
It looked real until I mean, some of it was too highly.
My mom
elevated.
has a chest scar. It looks the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a real scar, in which I'd feel bad for making fun of it. Apologies.
Like Play-Doh.
Play-Doh looks like real scars, man.
Do we have anything more to say about this?
Oh, I'm sure we could talk about it for hours, which is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you
But
for
I didn't
giving
like it.
us this opportunity to have a genuinely stimulating conversation.
Jeez.
Yep. So, this has been another short film roundup brought to you by Carmen Line Studios here on the Talkies.
If you have a short film, please submit it with our link in the description. It is r/Carmen Line Studios.
r/Carmen Line Studios.
Reddit.
On Reddit.
/r/Carmen Line.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know how Reddit works.
Yes.
But who doesn't know how Reddit works? You know what I'm saying? I've never used Reddit.
Kenny's never used Reddit.
Kenny's a pleb.
I'm a pleb.
Plebeian.
Such a plebe. All right. Well, thanks for watching. And until next time, I'm Kenny.
I'm D.
I'm Taylor.
And we will see you next time.
At the Talkies.
Whoa.
Nope, I'm not going to break a bottle here. Boom!
All right.